Hello, I'm Brian Thayer and I work at the Community Foundation for Monterey County, and I will be reading Chapter 9. When Doc's car came back to the laboratory, Mac and the boys secretly watched Hazel help carry in the stack of starfish. In a few minutes, Hazel came damply up the chicken walk to the palace. His jeans were wet with seawater to the thighs, and where it was drying, the white salt rings were forming. He sat heavily in the patent rocker that was his and shucked off his wet tennis shoes. Mac asked, "How is Doc feeling?" "Fine," said Hazel. "You can't understand a word he says." "Know what he said about stink bugs?" "No." "I better not tell you." "He seemed in a friendly mood?" Mac asked. "Sure," said Hazel. "We got 300 starfish. He's all right." "I wonder if we better all go over," Mac asked himself. He answered himself. "No, I guess it would be better if we went one alone. I might get him mixed up if we all went up." "What is this?" Hazel asked. "We got plans," said Mac. "I'll go myself so as not to start one. You guys stay here and wait. I'll come back in a few minutes." Mac went out and teetered down the chicken walk and across the track. Mr. Malloy was sitting on a brick in front of his boiler. "How are you, Sam?" Mac asked. "Pretty good." "How's the missus?" "Pretty good," said Mr. Malloy. "You know any kind of glue you can stick pot to iron?" Ordinarily, Mac would have thrown himself headlong into this problem, but now it was not to be deflected. "No," he said. He went across the vacant lot, across the street, and entered the basement of the laboratory. Doc had his hat off now, since there was practically no chance of getting his head wet unless the pipes were. He was busy removing the starfish from the wet sap and arranging them on the cool concrete floor. The starfish were twisted and knotted up, for a starfish loves to hang on to something, and for an hour these had found only each other. Doc arranged them in a long line, and very slowly they straightened out as they lay in symmetrical stars on the concrete floor. Doc's pointed brown beard was damp with perspiration as he worked. He looked up a little nervously as Mac entered. It was not that trouble always came in with Mac, but something always entered with him. "Hiya, Doc," said Mac. "All right," said Doc uneasily. "Hear about Phyllis May over at the Bear Flag? She hit a drunk and got his tooth in her fist, and it's infected clear to the elbow. She showed me the tooth. It was out of a plate. Is a false tooth poison, Doc?" "I guess everything that comes out of a human mouth is poison," said Doc warningly. "Has she got a doctor?" "The bouncer fixed her up," said Mac. "I'll take her some sulfa," said Doc, and he waited for the storm to break. He knew Mac had come for something, and Mac knew he knew it. Mac said, "Doc, you got any need for any kind of animals now?" Doc sighed with relief. "Why?" he asked guardedly. Mac became open and confidential. "I'll tell you, Doc. I and the boys got to get some dough. We simply got to. For a good purpose. You might say a worthy cause." "Phyllis May's arm?" Mac saw the chance, waited, and gave up. "Well, no," he said. "It's more important than that. You can't kill a whore. No, this is different. I and the boys thought if you needed something, why, we'd get it for you, and that way we can make a little piece of change." It seemed simple and innocent. Doc laid down 4 more starfish in mine. "I could use 300 or 400 frogs," he said. "I'd get them myself, but I've got to go down to La Jolla tonight. There's a good tide tomorrow, and I've got to get some octopi." "Same price for frogs?" Mac asked. "5 cents apiece?" "Same price," said Doc. Mac was jovial. "Don't worry about frogs, Doc," he said. "We'll get you all the frogs you want. You can rest easy about frogs. Why, we can get them right up Carmel River. I know a place." "Good," said Doc. "I'll take all you can get, but I need about 300. Just you rest easy, Doc. Don't you lose no sleep about it. Look at your frogs, maybe 700, 800. He put the Doc at his ease about his frogs, and then a little crowd crossed Mac's face. "Doc," he said, "any chance of using your car to go up the valley?" "No," said Doc. "I told you I have to drive to La Jolla tonight to make tomorrow's tide." "Oh," said Mac dispiritedly. "Well, don't worry about it, Doc. Maybe we can get Lee Chong's old truck." And then his face fell a little further. "Doc," he said, "on a business deal like this, would you advance $2 or $3 for the gasoline? I know Lee Chong won't give us gas." "No," said Doc. He had fallen into this before. Once he had financed Gay to go for turtles. He financed him for 2 weeks, and at the end of that time, Gay was in jail on his wife's charge, and he never did go for the turtles. "Well, maybe we can't go then," said Mac sadly. Now Doc really needed the frogs. try to work out some method which was business and not philanthropy. I'll tell you what I'll do, he said. I'll give you a note to get my gas station so you can get I'll give you a note to go to my gas station so you can get 10 gallons of gas. How will that be? Max smiled. Fine, he said. That'll work out just fine. I and the boys will get an early start tomorrow. Time you get back from the south, we'll have more damn frogs than you've ever seen in your life. Doc went to the labeling desk and wrote a note to Red Williams at the gas station, authorizing the issue of 10 gallons of gasoline to Mac. Here you are, he said. Mac was smiling broadly. Doc, he said, you can get to sleep tonight and not even give frogs a thought. We'll have piss pots full of them by the time you get back. Doc watched him go a little uneasily. Doc's dealing with Mac and the boys had always been interesting, but rarely had they been profitable to Doc. He remembered ruefully the time Mac sold him 15 tomcats, and by night the owners came and got every one. Mac, he said, why all tomcats? Mac said, Doc, it's my own invention, but I'll tell you because you're a good friend. You make a big wire trap and then you don't use bait. You see, well, you use a lady cat. Catch every goddamn tomcat in the country that way. From the laboratory, Mac crossed the street and went through the swinging screen doors of Lee Chong's grocery. Mrs. Lee was cutting bacon on the big butcher's block. The Lee cousin primped up slightly, wilted heads of lettuce the way a girl prints a loose finger wave. A cat lay asleep on a big pile of oranges. Lee Chong stood in his usual place, back of the cigar counter and in front of the liquor shelves. His tapping finger on the change mat scooted up a little when Mac came in. Mac wasted no time in sparring. Lee, he said, Doc over there's got a problem. He's got a big order for frogs from the New York Museum. It means a lot to Doc. Besides the dough, there's a lot of credit going in getting an order like that. Doc's got to go south, and I and the boys said we'd help him out. I think a guy's friends ought to help him out of a hole when they can, especially a nice guy like Doc. Why, I bet he spends $60, $70 a month with you. Lee Chong remained silent and watchful. His fat finger barely moved on the change mat, but it flicked slightly like a tense cat's tail. Mac plunged into his thesis. Will you let us take your old truck up to go up Carmel Valley for frogs for Doc? For good old Doc. Lee Chong smiled. Truck no good, he said. Broke down. This staggered Mac for a moment, but he recovered. He spread the order for gasoline on the cigar counter. Look, he said, Doc needs them frogs. He gave me this order for gas to get them. I can't let Doc down. Now, Gay is a good mechanic. He fixes your truck and puts it in good shape. Will you let us take it? Lee put back his head so that he could see Mac through his half glasses. There didn't seem to be anything wrong with the proposition. The truck really wouldn't run. Gay really was a good mechanic, and the order for gasoline was definite evidence of good faith. How long you be gone? Lee asked. Maybe a half day, maybe a whole day, just till we get the frogs. Lee was worried, but he couldn't see any way out. The dangers were all there, and Lee knew all. Okay, he said. Good, said Mac. I knew Doc could depend on you. I'll get Gay right to work on that truck. He turned about to leave. By the way, he said, Doc's paying us 5 cents a piece for these frogs. We're going to get 700 or 800. How about taking a pint of old tennis shoes just till we can get back with the frogs? No, said Lee Chong.